Hi, boys and girls. This week we are going to wrap up our topic 12 on measurement and be moving on in our math book. So our last section of topic 12 is using appropriate tools, and I'm on page 691. And last week I mentioned in all the videos, they use cubes a lot. These are the cubes that if we were in class together, we would be using to measure. But unfortunately, we're not in the classroom, and most of you probably don't have these. So I had made a few suggestions last week to use. One of those was paper clips, and then also pennies would work to measure. And I actually saw some pictures of some of our friends using Scrabble cubes or letter tiles. So no matter what you use, what's important is whatever they are, they're all the same size, right? So if you're going to use paper clips, you're going to use all small paper clips. If you're going to use money, you're going to use pennies. You can't use pennies and nickels and quarters because they're all different sizes. So whatever you're using, just make sure that they are the same size. I'm going to use all of that stuff to help you today. But this last section is pretty easy because they just want you to understand something. And what it is everybody sees this ribbon here on page 691. And if I were to measure that ribbon using paper clips or cubes or whatever, I'm going to use paper clips, it wouldn't really make sense because if I just lined up my paper clips, it wouldn't really get the whole length of the ribbon because this ribbon is not lined up straight. So I would need two different tools for this. The first tool is a piece of string. The piece of string is the tool they want us to use because that also bends and moves like the ribbon in the picture. So I can take my string and line it up on one end and just kind of pinch it there and then curve it and follow this and get it as close as I can to that ribbon. And now it ends about right here on my ribbon. So now that I know how long it is in the ribbon, I'm going to use the ribbon now to measure. So let me just make a mark on my ribbon so I don't forget. So I just made a little black dot. And now that I measured the curviness of that ribbon above, I can measure my string using paper clips and I can line them up correctly. We're sliding. I'm just going to put it right down here. So now I can line up my paper clips just like we have been doing in the last sections. So we want to make sure we're at the end and we want to make sure we're not overlapping or leaving spaces. They're going to all be touching in a straight line. So here, it looks like I might need one more because if I stretch my string out, it is about, look at here, I got some overlap, so I want to fix that. And I'm going to line it up. And this string is about 5 paper clips long, which means that this ribbon is about 5 paper clips long. Okay, so I need 2 tools. So when something is not straight, you're going to need to use a string and your other measuring tool, whether it's cubes or paper clips or pennies. Okay, over on page 692, they're saying the same thing. Here's a snake and he's all wiggly. He's not straight, so we can't measure him. Whenever something is not straight, you need 2 tools. You need a string, and here, all in our book, and I think even on the test, they say cubes. So a string and cubes, because it's not straight. So that's all you need to be able to do is look at something and say, yep, that's not straight. String and cubes, right? So here, what would I use to measure this marker? Well, is it straight? Yep, just cubes. Okay, and then you could measure it for extra practice. So you can use, here I'll use my pennies all lined up. Go all the way to the tip. And this marker is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pennies long. Okay. So the thing that's different in this chapter is recognizing if something's straight or not. So I mentioned in the assignment paper that we're going to be skipping around and not doing every single little thing. And here's what I mean. So on number 3, there's a scarf. All I need you to do is tell me, is it straight? Would you just use cubes? Or is it not straight? We need string and cubes. So here, it's not straight. String and cubes. You're going to do the same thing for number 4. Just cubes or string and cubes. So just circle 1. Circle 1 for here and circle 1 for there. So remember, if something is straight, you can measure it. If it's not straight, you're going to need to use the string and cubes. So all you need to do on this page, on page 693, is just decide whether you would use cubes or string and cubes. Okay? If you want extra practice and if you want to go ahead and measure, go ahead, but you don't need to. Okay? Over on the back, on page 694, there's some 3 bracelets there. It says Kate needs to hang these bracelets in order from shortest to longest. So circle the tools that we'd use, just like on the other page. Well, are these straight? No. So I'm going to need cubes and string there. Okay? And the reason why, it says explain why. Well, they're not straight. Right? For number 9, measure each bracelet and then write the colors from shortest to longest. So now that we've decided what to use, they want us to actually measure it. So we take our string, we line it up the best we can. It's about that long, which is about 1, 2, that one is about 3 paper clips, right? And that one looks a little longer. And that one looks the longest. So now they want us to put them shortest to longest. So the shortest one is this white one. The middle one is blue. And the longest is pink. Easy peasy, right? All right. So on page 695, you will see that it's exactly the same as this page right here. So again, I just want you to decide whether you need to use paper clips or the string and the paper clips. And all that is asking you, well, are they straight? Because if they're straight, the answer is paper clips. If it's not straight, the answer is string and paper clips. So you just need to choose one here and choose one there. You can go ahead and measure with paper clips if you have them for extra practice, but you don't need to. Okay? So that's it. That's it. That's all I need you to do today. Because we practice measuring. We practiced. So I know you know how to measure. So now it's just knowing, okay, that's straight. I can measure it normal. Or that's not straight. I need a string and my measurement tool. So that's the main idea, the important part of this section. All right? So you should be just fine. This should take you no time at all. And I'm going to give you another activity when you're going to actually practice doing some measuring around your house. And that's what you'll do for the rest of the time for today for math. And then tomorrow we're going to do a quick review and we'll take our test and be done with measurement. You guys are complete rock stars who are just rocking it right through this math book. So I'm very proud of all of you. So remember, you do not have to do all of the measuring. You just need to decide whether you need cubes or strings and cubes, or just paper clips or string and paper clips. That's it. That's all I want you to understand is the main idea for this lesson.